Today I'm going to be giving away a free t-shirt, asking and answering questions, bringing you a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown, continuing the Black Panther Comicology 101 series, talking comics, and of course, revealing the comic books I bought this week. Hi, I'm Victor, and you are watching the Comic Hero Show. Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. We're coming to you from Clint's Comics here in Monroe, Louisiana. And congratulations to the Oklahoma Sooners softball team. Now, 2 days ago, they won the national championship by defeating Auburn University in the Women's College World Series. And in occasion of that, I made this Oklahoma Sooners comic. Actually, I made this a while back, and I wore it in an early episode. But I'm wearing it today, and to go along with it, the Sooners hat. And congratulations to Coach Patty Gasso, the players, and the rest of the coaching staff, and the university overall. All right, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. All right, last week's episode, I asked, now Wolverine made his debut in the Incredible Hulk number 181 in 1974. Who was the Hulk fighting in that issue? Now the correct answer is Wendigo. And 5 people have answered correctly, and I'm about to draw their name to see who wins. So, the winner of the free Comic Hero tee for this week's episode is... Hey, Will, looks like you and Sabrina are the only two family members who don't have a shirt. Bill Scarborough! So congratulations, Bill. You win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. Now, Bill has been wanting a Comic Hero tee for the longest time. Pretty much ever since I started making them. So Bill, the wait's over. You finally get a shirt. All right, now here's the question for next week's episode, and this one is very easy, and I'm expecting a lot of people to answer this one, and I'm expecting more than about 5 people, heck, more than about 10 people to answer this one. First off, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows just came out in theaters last week. What WWE wrestler played the role of Rocksteady? See, I made it easier because I asked what WWE wrestler. So that being said, just about all of y'all should be getting this right. Everybody who answers correctly will be entered in the drawing for a free Comic Hero tee in next week's episode. So, I gotta ask, any questions?
Questions I walk around in. Questions I didn't rhyme in. Questions
All right, I have 2 questions for this week, and they're both from the Evil Twin, aka Brandon Ringo from West Monroe, Louisiana. All right, the first question is, what do you think about the twist in DC Universe Rebirth? Brandon, oh my goodness. You know what? I just read that a few days ago. And you know what? I'm going to hold off on that and answer that in the Comically Speaking segment a little later on in this episode. Because this segment, I don't want to take up the whole, because what I want to say is, I have a lot to say, and I don't want to, I still have one more question to ask. So the next question, and he asks, what part of your comic collection would you say you're most proud of? Whether it be a single issue that's hard to find, a full run from a single author, or something that you just enjoy rereading through frequently. By the way, you have to pick something. Don't wuss out and say all of it. Oh boy. All of it. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, one thing I would have to say would be The Amazing Spider-Man, anywhere from one more day, not one more day, but brand new day, all the way to the end of the first volume, all the way to the very end. I mean, guys like Dan Slott and other writers and artists like Giuseppe Camuncoli have done, and they still do, have done wonders on that book. Whether it be the plot twist that Norman Osborn impregnated Harry Osborn's girlfriend, or when Peter Parker or when Doc Ock ended up switching bodies with Spider-Man. Oh, there's my sidekick. But I mean, but yeah. And then also Jeff Johns and Ed McGuinness's run on Superman. Not Jeff. I mean, I say Jeff Johns, but Jeff Loeb. I'm sorry. Jeff Loeb's run on Superman, but really when Ed McGuinness was the artist on Superman, oh my goodness! I mean the artwork. I didn't even know who Ed McGuinness was until I started reading Superman, until he was on Superman. And holy cow, I became an instant fan. And then one shot that really, and then DC Universe Rebirth. Jeff Johns, I believe, and I'm just gonna say this about DC Rebirth, and I'm going to leave the rest of it for Comically Speaking. Jeff Johns, I believe, saved his best work for DC Universe Rebirth. But anyway, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, my good friend Mia Darrington from California, who's also one of my fellow co-workers. Hey, Silas. Yeah, we made to be very careful because I ended up leaving my apartment without my tripod mount. So one wrong move and this camcorder could fall. Oh, okay. Hey, thanks for coming. And all right, I had a little audience for a minute. By the way, she had requested a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, not knowing that it was actually one of the greatest one-shots that has ever been printed out back in the 70s. And before I let you know what this fight is, I have to tell you that we lost one of the greatest figures in history, much less like one of the greatest people, one of the most influential people of all time. I'm talking about Muhammad Ali. He passed away last week. Sorry, folks, I don't have a camera mount. Silence, be careful. But anyway, he passed away last month, and he was, I don't care what anyone says, he is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And Mia had requested a fight between Muhammad Ali versus Superman, the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. She didn't know that that was a one shot back in the 70s, but because here on the show, I listen to my fans. I listen to my fans unless it's something very, very, very tasteless. I'm gonna give the people what they want, and I'm gonna do it my own way. In this corner, we have the Man of Steel, Superman. And in this corner, we have the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And he doesn't count the days, he makes the days count. Muhammad Ali, Louisville's favorite son. These two are gonna duke it out in a segment I like to call
The Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown.
Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's Superman versus Muhammad Ali. This has already been done in a one-shot from the 70s, but I'm going to tell my own tale of the tape. Superman possesses superhuman strength, speed, senses, durability, longevity, flight, heat vision, freezing breath, extrasensory and visual powers, including X-ray vision, enhanced intelligence, and nigh invulnerability. Muhammad Ali is the greatest of all time. Enough said. Who will win? It wouldn't be fair to match these two together as they are, so let's give Ali the same Kryptonian power set that Superman has. You'd think they'd be evenly matched. That's where you're wrong. Superman may possess these powers, but history shows that he's not a good fighter. Ali would pull no punches with the Man of Steel and knocks him out, going untouched. Then, for laughs and giggles, and because he can, he uses heat vision and etches the letters G-O-A-T on Superman's back. Still the greatest, always the greatest. Muhammad Ali wins. And that concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that phenomenal Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. And I have two more in the next coming episodes. But if you happen to have one, but I will still take requests for fights in future episodes. So contact info is down there. All right, now continuing the Comicology 101 series on the Black Panther, I'm going to be talking about the publication history of the character. Now, last week I talked about the concept and the some of the powers that the Panther has. Now, again, I'm going to be talking about the publication history of the character. So, ladies and gentlemen, class is now in session. Welcome back to the Comicology 101 series of the Black Panther. Today I'll talk about the publication history of the character. Following his debut in Fantastic Four numbers 52 and 53 in 1966, his subsequent guest appearance in the Fantastic Four Annual number 5 in 1967, and with Captain America and Tales Suspense numbers 97 through 99 in 1968, the Black Panther journeyed from the fictional African nation of Wakanda to New York City to join the Earth's Mightiest Heroes in Avengers number 52 in 1968, appearing in that comic for the next few years. During his time with the Avengers, he made guest solo appearances in 3 issues of Daredevil and fought Doctor Doom in Astonishing Tales numbers 6 through 7 in 1971. He later returned in a guest appearance capacity in Fantastic Four number 119 in February of 1972, during which he briefly used the name Black Leopard to avoid connotations invoking the black militant political party, the Black Panthers. He first received a starring feature with Jungle Action number 5 in 1973, a reprint of the Panther-centric story in the Avengers number 62 in 1969. A new series began running the following issue, written by Don McGregor, with art by pencilers Rick Buckler, Gil Kane, and Billy Graham, and which gave inkers Klaus Janson and Bob McLeod some of their first professional exposure. The critically acclaimed series ran in Jungle Actions numbers 6 through 24 that ran from September of 1973 through November of 1976. The second and final act, Panther vs. the Klan, ran mostly as 17-page stories in Jungle Action numbers 19 through 24 from January through November of 1976. The subject matter of the Ku Klux Klan was considered controversial in the Marvel offices at that time, creating difficulties for the creative team. Though popular with college students, the overall sales of Jungle Action were low, and Marvel relaunched the Black Panther in a self-titled series, bringing the character's co-creator, Jack Kirby, newly returned to Marvel after having decamped to rival DC for a time, as writer, artist, and editor. However, Kirby wanted to work on new characters and was unhappy with being assigned a series starring a character he had already worked with extensively. He left the series after only 12 issues and was replaced with writer Ed Hannigan, artist Jerry Bingham, and editor Roger Stern. Black Panther ran 15 issues from January of 1977 through May of 1979. Due to the series cancellation, the content of what would have been Black Panther numbers 16 through 18 were published in Marvel Premiere numbers 51 through 53. A 4-issue miniseries, Black Panther, that ran from July through October of 1988, was written by Peter B. Gillis and penciled by Dennis Cowan. Don McGregor revisited his Panther saga with artist Gene Colan in Panther's Quest, published as 25 8-page installments with the bi-weekly anthology series Marvel Comics Presents in issues numbers 13 through 37 in February through December of 1989. He later teamed up with artist Dwayne Turner in the square-bound miniseries Black Panther: Panther's Prey from September of 1990 through March of 1991. McGregor conceived a 5th arc in his Black Panther saga entitled Panther's Vows, but it failed to get off the ground. Writer Christopher Priest and penciler Mark Teixeira's 1998 series Black Panther utilized Eric Killmonger, Venom, and other characters introduced in Panther's Rage, together with new characters such as State Department Attorney Everett Ross, the Black Panther's adopted brother Hunter, and the Panther's protege Queen Divine Justice. The Priest-Teixeira series was under the Marvel Knights imprint its first year. The last 13 issues, numbers 50 through 62, saw the main character replaced by a multiracial New York police officer named Casper Cole, with T'Challa relegated to a supporting character. The Black Panther, who became the White Tiger, was placed in the series The Crew, running concurrently with the final few Black Panther issues. The Crew was canceled with issue number 7. In 2005, Marvel began publishing Black Panther Volume 4, which ran 41 issues from April of 2005 to November of 2008. It was initially written by filmmaker Reginald Hudlin through issue number 38 and penciled by John Romita Jr. through issue number 6. Hudlin said he wanted to add street cred to the title, although he noted that the book was not necessarily or primarily geared towards an African-American readership. As influences for his characterization of the character, Hudlin cited comic character Batman, film director Spike Lee, and music artist Sean Diddy Combs. Black Panther Volume 5 was launched in February of 2009, with Hudlin again scripting, introducing successor Black Panther, T'Challa's sister Shuri. Hudlin co-wrote issue number 7 with Jonathan Mayberry, who then became the new writer, joined by artist Will Conrad. The Panther was also a featured player, with members of the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, in the Doctor Doom-based 6-issue miniseries Doom War, which ran from April through September of 2010. T'Challa then accepted an invitation from Matt Murdock, the superhero Daredevil, to become the new protector of New York City's Hell's Kitchen neighborhood. He became the lead character in Daredevil beginning with issue number 513 in February of 2011, when that series was retitled Black Panther: The Man Without Fear. Under writer David Liss and artist Francisco Francavilla, he took on the identity of Mr. Okonkwo, an immigrant from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and becomes the owner of a small diner in order to be close to the people. A new Black Panther series written by Ta-Nehisi Coates and drawn by artist Brian Stelfreeze was launched in 2016. That's all for today. Next time I'll discuss the character history of the Panther. Class dismissed. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the Comicology 101 series of Black Panther, or part 2 of it. And next week I'll be talking about the character history of the Panther. Oh, and Silas, you're right on time. Come here. All right. It's time for Silas's favorite segment, Comically Speaking. So without further ado, let's talk comics. All right, next thing I want to talk about, as promised, is DC Universe Rebirth. Words can't describe how awesome it was. I believe Jeff Johns saved his best work for that one book. Now, he has written, I believe, so many great, series. Whether it be Green Lantern, whether it be The Flash, whether it be Justice League, what have you. I mean, he's even went over to Marvel and taken on the Avengers. But he is he saved his great work for that one book. Now, some of the stuff that happened, like the we find out that the Wally West from the original DC universe was trapped in a Speed Force, and he was trying to find his way throughout the New 52 universe. And he starts out, he goes to the Batcave, he finds Batman, he tries to enlist his help, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he ends up going back into the Speed Force. Then he goes back and then tries to reconnect with some of his fellow friends and members of the Teen Titans, and they don't notice him. Then he goes to Keystone City to find the one woman that he loved more than anything, and that, of course, that's his wife from the original DC universe, Linda Park. She doesn't recognize him. And then in a last-ditch effort, she goes right across the bridge to Central City to his to the man that was more of a father to him than anyone, and I'm talking about Barry Allen, aka the Flash. Barry doesn't recognize him at first, but then, as Wally is about to disappear into the Speed Force forever, Barry ends up grabbing him and then pulling him out of the Speed Force, and he's part of this new DC universe. Very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. And we also find out who the mastermind is behind the whole New 52 universe and this universe now. It's Dr. Manhattan of the Watchmen. And this also suggests that the Watchmen are also going to be part of this new DC universe. And not only that, they're also going to be in a war with the DC universe. Very great stuff, and I can't wait to read these one-shots that are going to spawn out of DC Universe Rebirth, and also the new number ones that are coming out of it as well. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I went to see it last Friday. It was amazing. It was so much better than the first one in terms of pretty much everything. I'm not gonna spoil it for you because after all, the movie just came out last month. But some of the folks that starred in it, I'm gonna try not to give any of it away because after all, that was the question in last week's episode. But Stephen Amell made a very interesting Casey Jones. I mean, he starts out as a warden at Rikers Island in New York, and he imprisons the Shredder. Well, the Foot Clan end up springing him while he's on his way to Strikers, and then he ends up getting dismissed as a warden because they let him get away, and so he becomes a vigilante, and then he ends up aligning himself with the Turtles and all that. But anyway, they end up. And Tyler Perry also made a very interesting Baxter Stockman. A very interesting Baxter Stockman. But don't worry, he doesn't turn to a fly. Besides, he might even turn to a fly if there's a third one, which might happen. But anyway, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right, first off is Aquaman Rebirth. Now, Jeff Johns has really brought Aquaman to a lot of relevance, and Jeff Parker and Dan Abnett have really picked up the slack after his run on the previous Aquaman series. I mean, he's no longer just this guy that talks to fish. I mean, this guy could kick your behind. I mean, he is one heck of a ruler, and he's also not afraid to go off in a restaurant and eat fish in front of you. And not only that, he has one hot girlfriend. Oh, and also, and one other thing in DC Rebirth that I forgot to talk about, he proposes to Mara, so now they're getting married. All right, next up is Action Comics number 957. Now, DC recently returned it to its original numbering, and rightfully so, because Action Comics first came on the scene in 1938. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a little story about the very first issue of Action Comics. My grandma, God rest her, she actually remembered when the very first issue of Action Comics came out. She was 5 years old. And I, you know, with me growing up, I kind of figured, I thought, because like I remember I was reading the issue of Superman around her, and she would say, oh, it's Superman, isn't it? I said, yeah. And then she said, yeah, I remember when the first issue came out. And I thought, oh, okay. And she said, yeah, it came out in 1938. I was 5. I said, okay. But just think, in about a few years from now, we're going to be talking about the 1000th issue of Action Comics. So, wow. It is the oldest comic in print to this day. The second oldest is Detective Comics, which is actually going to be returning to its original numbering next week, when it comes out next week. All right, next up is Green Lantern Corps Edge of Oblivion number 6. This is the conclusion to this miniseries, and what's going on in this book is that the Green Lantern Corps are not only displaced in time, they're also displaced in space. And they've befriended this alien race whose planet is in peril by this elderly alien woman. But we find out after 2 of their members were killed that it was the other way around. The alien race were the ones doing the killing, and the elderly alien was the one who was in peril. And right after this book starts Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, and that's going to be a great book, and that's going to be one of them that I'm going to read. And then finally, Flash Rebirth. This is one of the books that's actually going to be spawning out of DC Universe Rebirth that I'm going to read. Now, what's happening in this book is that the Speed Force ends up, everyone in Central City ends up getting infected with the Speed Force. And when they do, some of them want to use it for good, some want to use it for evil, and some really don't want to use it at all. They just want to live normal lives. And one of them that want to use it for good ends up becoming this new villain by the name of Godspeed. All right, now that's 4 I bought, which brings the total number of comics I bought since December of 1997 to 7,370. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Again, congratulations to the University of Oklahoma softball team for winning the Women's College World Series. And also, I want to congratulate the Auburn softball team for making it this far. I mean, one thing about me, there are no losers. I mean, as a matter of fact, they just didn't make it all the way. I mean, yeah, sure, they lost, but, you know, they had a great season. After all, they won the SEC championship. I mean, that has to count for something, does it? And then also, wow. You know, this is the 116th episode, and I don't know. I haven't been saying this that often, but if any of y'all have any suggestions for this show, anything to make this show better, anything you think that that'll take this show to the next level, I'm all for suggestions. And I'll just go ahead and say it. I didn't go and see X-Men Apocalypse. I know, boo me. I just haven't had time to. I had to adult. Life 101 got in the way, and sometimes when you have to adult, you don't have time to do whatever the heck you want. But I'll have time. I'll have time to. Next week's episode, I'm going to be bringing you part 3 of the Black Panther Comicology 101 series. Well, I'll be talking about the character history of the Panther, and that'll be the conclusion of the series. Now, if y'all have a Comicology 101 series y'all want me to do, please let me know and I'll make it happen. All right, well, I'm Victor Nunley. I'm the Comic Hero. We'll see you next week for episode 117 right back here at Clint's Comics. So till then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and boomer sooner.